What up? What up? What is up, guys? It's your man 50 Grand, Richie Rich, coming back at it again for another retrospective review. And folks, it's 2024. It's time to get your paper right. No, not yet. It's not time for that. The most important thing is it's time to get back to unfinished business. We got some retrospective reviews to come out in 2024, and as I said, folks, please, if you do have any like requests for any reviews from the past, from back in days, in the 90s, 2000s, possibly the 2010s, please get in contact with me. You can always, best way to, if you're trying to message me directly, go through Instagram. It's RichManZ90. So RichManZ90's description will be in the link below. The description will be down below. As it was funny, I was looking back at the House Party series, specifically Kid and Play, and the only series I can really compare to the House Party franchise around this time is the Friday series, which you could say in somewhat shape and form preceded the House Party series. A lot of House Party characters end up appearing in the Friday film series as well, so I thought it would be a cool time. I thought it would be the right next retrospective reviews to look at the Friday series. So when I was checking my movie reviews and TVC reviews, I'd already reviewed the first two Fridays. So Friday, the original one that came out in 1995, and then the sequel that came out in 2000, I reviewed them already. So I will be putting extracts of that videos in there, because again, my thoughts, this was maybe 5-6 years ago, and my reviews haven't really changed. My thoughts on these movies haven't really changed too much, but near the end of this review, I will give my kind of closing comments, and has some of my opinions and thoughts changed from seeing it now. Wow, so Mamma Mia, Friday from 1995. One of the funniest black comedy in general, from this era in the 90s, and even now, it's one of the most hilarious, non-stop entertaining thrill ride from the start to the finish of this movie. I first saw the iconic first film of the Friday series. I actually got it in, I believe it was a box set, so it had this one and the two other sequels, Next Friday and Friday After Next. What happened was, out of the three, so Friday, Next Friday, and Friday After Next, we always seen, me and the guys around my age at that time when we were watching this, we always used to think Next Friday was the best, of the three. That was the one that we always were most drawn to. We were like, oh man, of all of the series, Next Friday is the best. And that it only came after I started to rewatch the 1995 Friday, that I started to understand that this is actually the best of the whole trilogy, just from the jokes, the actors who are in this. It has an all-star cast, but it definitely is the strongest of the all three. The first time I actually watched this, I think I didn't get it, because it was again one of them times, this is an R rating. So I was watching this where I was too young to understand some of the jokes and some of the themes in the film, so I didn't get it. So what happened was, like I said, I watched Next Friday when I was old enough to watch it, and I loved that. I always enjoyed Next Friday and then Friday After Next, and then I rewatched this mostly on Fridays, just like today, and I always just started to I just started to understand it more, and I got into it, and I just love this film, man. So with the tagline, a lot can go down between Thursday and Saturday, Friday tells the story of Ice Cube, but let me divert a bit onto Ice Cube. Ice Cube, was a big time rapper in the early 90s, and
he was heavily known from his the rap group he was at the time, NWA. Yeah, like Ice Cube was part of the rap group NWA, who featured, you know, Eazy-E, MC Ren, DJ Yella, and also Dr. Dre. You know, it's all that whole like their rise to like you know, stardom was all like told wonderfully in the guy who actually directed this, F. Gary Gray, he directed Straight Outta Compton. It's told about like their rise to, you know, fame, you know, breaking out of that system. Yeah, like the same director who actually made Friday, F. Gary Gray, I believe this was actually his first major motion picture, you know what I mean? So similar to how I mentioned about John Singleton on The Poetic Justice, this was he was again another string of young black directors being given this opportunity to make a classic you know, black film, you know. And he so back to Ice Cube. So like, as it was told in Straight Outta Compton, you know, Ice Cube was one of the first members to disband from the NWA group, and with that he moved into kind of like, he didn't move, but in his like on his other projects he was able to do, I think his first like main one obviously was Boys in the Hood, and he actually did the he actually had the idea and the concept for what I have here, Friday. You know, he even shows a scene in the 2015 Straight Outta Compton film of Ice Cube actually developing the script for Friday, you know what I mean? But yeah, like if you've seen Straight Outta Compton, there's that scene where you know, Ice Cube's already left NWA. You know, Ice Cube's son, who's portraying him in the film, you know, he's like on the computer, you know, and he reads the famous line from this: "You got knocked the F out." You know, it was seen in that it was seen in Straight Outta Compton, you know. So like Ice Cube already had this idea for this comedy hit way before they actually went into filming thing. You know, he had the initial concept, you know, and it just so happened that F. Gary Gray, he actually directed one of his greatest music videos. It was A Good Day, you know, and that was actually, you know, obviously before Friday. So like, as Ice Cube is playing the main lead of this film, his co-lead in this is none other than the fast-talking, widely entertaining Chris Tucker, Smokey. He's playing Smokey. So you have Smokey here, and you have Ice Cube playing Craig, you know. And I felt like the casting for these two leads definitely works for this film in particular, you know, because they both, why they're so good together, they both play off each other, you know. Like Ice Cube in this is very like the I wouldn't say serious, but he's just trying to get through this day, you know, because what happened is from the beginning of this film, Ice Cube was working at a shoe store, but he gets fired because he got caught on camera stealing boxes, but they couldn't actually make it out it was him. But they were like, they thought when they were looking at the security footage, they thought the back of his head, it kind of looked like Craig, you know, who Ice Cube was playing. So like, he got fired from work, and he basically spending the whole Friday, you know, just at his house. You know, his parents, played by, you know, John Witherspoon, and I cannot remember her name, but she also appeared in Wayans Brothers as well, the Wayans Brothers TV show. She was the policewoman in the Wayans Brothers TV show. She also had guest spots in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But you know, Craig's mother and her father, you know, they want him out, you know, because he's not, you know, he's just like, he's that super senior, you know, the one who's already too old to basically live in his parents' house and that. But yeah, Chris Tucker plays that role of that, you know, that fast talking junkie, you know. He plays it so great, you know. It's just that, you know, I'm pretty sure everyone's been there when, you know, you've kind of got nothing to do and you're hanging around with someone who is like a friend, but you kind of know he's going to get you in trouble just by acquaintance, you know. And it just so happens on this day, Friday, Ice Cube's not doing anything, you know. He hasn't got nothing really to do, you know. So like, throughout the movie, Smokey, Chris Tucker, you know, he keeps tempting him to do stuff for like, you know, the first time, like whether it be like, you know, smoke weed, break into other people's house, you know, just do stuff that, you know, I think, I'm not saying it's usual stuff that people do in the ghetto, but kind of like when you're, you know, idle, you know what I mean, when you've got nothing to do, sometimes you do stuff just to, you know, make the time go quickly, you know, because you really are just bored. So like, as far as I know, I believe this was actually the first time I'd seen Chris Tucker, you know, ever, you know, because this is obviously before, you know, he really became an even bigger star when he blew up with the Rush Hour series, you know, because I believe Rush Hour came out late 90s and went on to the early 2000s and that. But other than that, around this time, the only time I'd probably seen him was on Russell Simmons' Def Comedy Jam. And then, you know, he did a few stand-up appearances like on the Arsenio Hall show and probably another. Maybe he was on the Letterman show. I'm not completely sure on that. But, like, you know, he was just, you know, he was around. He was one of them, like, young breakthrough comedians, you know, like a Chris Rock, you know, a Dave Chappelle, who was slowly breaking, you know, slowly waiting for their opportunity and that. And this was a great vehicle for Chris Tucker, you know, because I'm pretty sure even today they always identify him as Smokey and that, you know. For me at least, I always, like I said, the first time I saw Chris Tucker was definitely Detective James Carter in Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, you know, so like with you know, Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, you know, they just play the roles down, man. They're like, yeah, you know, they play the roles good together, you know. They work very good as, like, you know, buddies and friends in this, you know, which they really are, you know. And you know, like with the main leads, so the other characters are like Nia Long, who's like the hot, super fine hot girl who actually lives in the block, you know, because like the whole area of Friday is basically, you know, I don't want to say ghetto, but it's basically the projects, you know what I mean. This could be like the same area in Boys in the Hood, you know. It's just the you know, the same kind of like the same kind of negative connotations you can address, you can identify with like the projects in, like, you know, it feels like Boys in the Hood or even Menace to Society. That's what is basically the main area in this film. So like Nia Long plays Debbie, who's like a really, you know, she's a fitness instructor, you know, and who's like Craig, who has had like a crush on for like a while, and he's just trying to get with her, but, you know, he doesn't know how to, you know, step to her. But the only problem is that Ice Cube already has a girl, and yeah, Ice Cube already has a girl named Joy. I believe I have on the cover, if you can probably see it. This honey right here, Joy, who's played by Paula Jai Parker, who I think recently appeared in the Hustle and Flow film with Terrence Howard and Tajiri Henson, you know, plays Cookie in Empire. She was also in that Wayne Brothers TV show as well. But Joy, you know, like Craig's girlfriend in this, she is the definition of a fast girl, you know. You know them girls that, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, a lot of guys, I'm pretty sure some guys have like been through this, you know, certainly I have, you know. It's them girls you're just going to them just for like how they look, you know what I mean, but their personality is abysmal, you know what I mean, and it's just staying with them, you know. It's kind of similar to like a version of a hood rat that, you know, Craig's girlfriend in this Joy is, you know. And the hardest thing is throughout the film, he's just trying to get with Nia Long's character Debbie, who's like, she's a fitness instructor, you know, she's got it going on, you know, and he's trying to break away from this fast girl / hood rat in Joy. You know, what a common funny theme in this film, what Joy does is like, Joy keeps calling the house, you know, like where Craig, you know, and oh, I even forgot to mention Regina King, you know, who, like I said, has appeared, who was like everywhere during the 90s, you know. She was in Poetic Justice, she was in Jerry Maguire, you know, she, you know, voiced the Boondocks, Huey and Riley and that, you know. She was also in this as well as Craig's, Ice Cube's sister in this, you know. Joy always keeps calling the house and keeps hanging up, you know, just to annoy them, you know. And, you know, she's like, again, she's that one, like, she wants materialistic things on Craig, like, what are you gonna get me, you know. Man, and on the same lines of women in this, whoa, Kathleen Bradley, who was one of the I think one of the women on the Price is Right show back in the day that was hosted by Bob Barker, you know. She's one of like the you know, the female girls who always like help, like his assistant on the show, you know, them game shows at the time, they've always got like the pretty woman there as well. You know, she was one of the she was one of the many females who was on that show, and she appears in this as Miss Parker. You know, hi Miss Parker, hi boys, man. You know, like this is she is probably like the definition of like you know, like having a crush on a mature woman, a mature, like, you know, hot woman that you could actually dream that, man, I could actually, you know, get with that. You know what I mean? So she's just like opposite the street from where Craig is. So there's times throughout the movie where Craig and Smokey are like, you know, just out and about on the street, you know, and Miss Parker's like, you know, with the hose, you know, watering her plants, and she's wearing like skimpy outfits and that, just being like, oh, you dropped your mouth and that. But she was, oh my god, mind-blowing hot in this film. So like there's like plenty of like even cameos throughout this film as well. Like you probably even some people even missing that. Like Michael Clark Duncan appears in this film, you know, Bernie Mac, you know, one of the guys, again, he left us too soon, he was in this. The director F. Gary Gray, that scene when they go into the store to get, I think they're getting something from the drug store, yeah, to get something. Smokey, F. Gary Gray is one of the guys working, and he's mopping the floor there, you know. So there's even a lot of list of other cameos in that, but they're like the main ones, yeah. And also like the other notable cast is you know, like I mentioned, like John Witherspoon, who, man, legendary comedian, man. You know, he also appeared in another favorite of mine, House Party, as well. But you know, he plays Craig's dad, and he plays that good. You know, he has that good divide of playing that, you know, like, you know, this is my house, I'm the dad, you know, you listen to what I say. And you could always be that goofy at times as well, you know, like the cool scene is when like he's coming, like in the opening scene, like Craig walks into the toilet while, you know, John Witherspoon, you know, the dad, you know, he's taking a dump. You know, and he's like, how do you get fired on your day off, man? I want you to be a dog catcher. You know, he gives him the newspaper for like job lists for him to find a new job. And he says like he wants him to be like a dog catcher, just like his old man. And but yeah, that scene's just brilliant. And I'd say like the other notable like actor in this is also Faison Love, you know, Big Worm. You know, he actually he plays the role of like Smokey's supplier of drugs, you know. So he gives it to Chris Tucker's character Smokey, you know, to deal around the block and that. And like once you know, Smokey's made that money, he has to give it to Big Worm, and Big Worm gives it. It's that drug kind of game, people, you know. And what happens on this day, Chris Tucker because he's got the dope with him and Craig's not doing anything, he convinces Craig, who I believe has never like smoked a joint before, you know, to, you know, let's get high, man, it's Friday, we ain't got nothing to do, you know, and you know, it'll make you feel happy, man, you know. And what happens is, because like they wasted, you know, they smoked all the joints, you know, just by themselves, Smokey and Craig, you know, by the time he goes to Big Worm, he doesn't have enough money to give back to him for the money he sold, for the dope the dope he sold, you know. He didn't have enough money to give back to Big Worm. Yeah, then Big Worm basically like they meet, because Big Worm is he pulls up to like Craig and Smokey's place, and he comes in like an ice cream van, you know. I think just a way to be like, you know, undercover and that. But like he calls Smokey, and Smokey basically likes him, you know. He says like, you know, like I got your money, but he like folds it over, like he was meant to give him $200, but he had 100. Then he flipped it over to show him he had like 200, which is just lying. But and then Smokey's like, oh, you know, we just got high, man, you know, we got effed up. You know, and Big Worm's like, man, look, man, I'm gonna be here at 10 tonight. Not 10:01, not 9:59, not 10:15. Look, if you don't have my money or my bud, I'm gonna kill you and your friend Craig, you know. And Chris Tucker's like, you gonna kill me? Well, he issues that threat, like basically if they can't make that money by the end of today on Friday night, he's gonna smoke them. That's when it becomes the main point of like their, like what they have to do is basically to make that money, for the fear of their own safety, And then meanwhile, we've got Tony, I believe his name's Tony Lister Jr. He actually used to be like a professional wrestler. I don't know how long he did that for, but he appeared in WWF, not WWE. But he is basically the neighborhood bully, man. Like he's just a big guy who's riding a bike at the time, and he is the absolute personification of a bully, the complete definition. He just goes around to like different places around the block, and most times he bumps into Craig and Smokey, and also another guy who worked at Ice Cube's place, I think at where they were working, the shoe store. And there's one scene where he comes up to him and he just like he takes his chain off him, and he's like, yo, that's my grandmother's chain. And he's like, shut up, knock your hands out. It was like, he's just like, he basically takes what he wants because of his size. People are just intimidated from him, so no one actually wants to kind of say like, man, why are you doing that? Chris Tucker actually tries that. He's like, okay, man, why don't you just give him back his change? And his name's Debo. He actually has like this kind of cross-eyed thing, and he's like, what chain? And one time Chris Tucker's like, yeah, what change? So it's just, everyone's just fearful of like getting their ass kicked, so they don't try to confront him, But yeah, there's so many like there's multiple like funny lines, and classic themes, scenes from this, even like that one like, damn, when I think his name's Reggie, who was working where Ice Cube was working. He took his shades off, and he showed the eye, like when from Debo like uppercutted him from that flashback it shows at the start of the film, around the early part of the film. But yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes from this film, would definitely be the Bye Felicia one. This is where Bye Felicia originally came from, So I guess for the newer generation, they think it was in Straight Outta Compton. No, kiddies. It was from Friday, the scene where the girl, I think her name's Angela Means, who also appeared in the Disastrous House Party 3 as Kid's wife. She's like basically she looks like just a junkie, like complete disaster train wreck of a female. She comes when Craig and Smokey are just trying to figure out like how they're gonna make this money for Big Worm, and that they I think it's around that time they're smoking a joint just to release their stress and that, and her name's Felicia. She comes up to them and she's like, what you smoking at? Let me hit that. Then she says out of nowhere, which is mind-blowing, she says like, I need to borrow your car today. And Chris Tucker's like, what kind of nonsense is that? Most people ask for ketchup, even sugar, but you want to borrow my car? Hell no. And she says like, I'm gonna remember that. And Chris Tucker's like, write it down, take a picture. I don't care. And then like Felicia turns around, she looks at Craig, and she's like, kind of like, Craig. Then Craig, even before like she even utters like the rest of her sentence, Craig is just sitting there down like this. Bye, Felicia. Amazing. That delivery, the way he said that, and it's that kind of thing, just them two words, you kind of already know what he was getting at, like, don't even waste your time trying to tell me, you want to borrow my car or something, just like, it's like perfect way just to end the conversation, I'm not talking to you today. Bye, Felicia. Perfect. But yeah, this is just definitely a fun movie to have, I mean, like I even found out it was only shot in a month, like nearly 22 days it got shot around the block, so it wasn't in films, because usually films always sometimes take like maybe 8 months to like years, to get like when they're actually going for locations, getting the actors together and directing. Though he also had it took 20 days, and I mean it's just a fabulous effort for F. Gary Gray's first major film production. And again, one common theme obviously from the 90s is the golden soundtracks, like I said, man, like there was just something about the 90s era that had that new jack swing, colorful, you know, beats and music that, like, you know, a lot of the movies now don't have, you know, because I'm not saying music has definitely taken a turn down of, you know, recent years, and that it's just a lot of people don't have that kind of unique themes now, you know, that unique musical quality that was so that was such a staple of the 90s, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, just like I mentioned on the other reviews, and that this one, the Friday soundtrack, is another great one, you know. Like, one of my favorite ones is the Cypress Hill one, you know, the Roll It Up, Smoke It Up, something up, that one, great one. And even the main theme for this Friday, which was performed by Ice Cube, you know, when he's in the house, oh yeah, for your neighborhood, throw your hands in the air like you don't care, you know. It's I actually use that for my ringtone, you know. It's a top to bottom, just another great soundtrack. So, like, let me mention my thoughts on the other sequels, because like I said, I saw Next Friday of the three. So, you know, Friday, Next Friday, and Friday After Next. Next Friday was one me and even, like, you know, my cousins and that family, we always used to see Next Friday. Even when we were in high school, we even saw that. They showed that one day for, like, you know, like, finishing the school term. You know, they showed that as like a treat for the kids, you know. So Next Friday was one they always showing that, and it was only like until, like, I got, like I said, I got older, you know, and I started to watch it, you know. I was like, it's good, but it's still not good as the F. Gary Gray one, because F. Gary Gray didn't return for the sequel, Next Friday, or even the other one, because this took 5 years and it came out in 2000. So F. Gary Gray, he directed Set It Off, and I think it was The Negotiator. But, like, he didn't return for the sequels, because that's how this film feels, you know. It's like everything ends on the day. I don't think it needed a sequel, you know. But there are a few laughs here and there from Next Friday, you know, with, what's his name? Mike Epps, who plays Day Day, which is cool, you know. I think Mike Epps is a very, very good comedian, you know. I just feel that Chris Tucker, he kind of set the bar so high in Friday one that, you know, like, oh man, it's just his, you know, there can only be one Chris Tucker, you know, that fast talking and, like, yeah man, you know, his voice, you know, and just like how he just got Ice Cube in trouble for no reason, you know. It's just like it was a very great performance. And it's like the little I say about Friday After Next is the better, you know, because again, that film, it just has, like, a lot of, like, you know, stars that were, like, hot at the moment at the time. Like Cat Williams was in there. Who else was in there? Like the guy who played the Santa Claus, he also appeared in Def Comedy Jam, you know. But I don't really think that film you can take it as serious as this one, or even Next Friday, you know. It feels more of like a direct-to-video release, you know. And, you know, that one was set in the Christmas time, you know. This one's obviously set, like, in more of, like, you know, summer and that, you know. But I would definitely say that, you know, hands down, of the three, Friday is the best of the whole trilogy. Yeah, guys, so, like, who would I recommend this to? I would say anyone who has probably watched the you know, like, the house party movies that were in the 90s, of that kind of, like, you know, fun, vibrant, you know, black kind of culturific, if that even is a word, you know, films of that time would definitely like this, because a lot of, like, what makes, like, the house party films, and even kind of to a certain degree Boomerang, is contained in Friday, because it's not just a film featuring, like, all black actors that is not treated with respect, you know. Because why I say that is, like, Harlem Nights, which had like a stellar black full of, like, top black actors. That film wasn't good at all, you know what I mean? But this one was treated with very respect, you know, having, like, a strong narrative, strong principal actors playing them as well, in Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, and a well-surrounded supporting cast, you know. It's a very terrific movie, and it's like it gets better with age, you know. You can watch this, you know, it was 1995, we're now, like, 22 years after this, you know. You could watch this 30 years from now. This movie will live forever. But yeah, and even in addition to that, this film, it captures the 90s. It is a strong like advertisement for how awesome the 90s period was, you know, like all of the, you know, the clothing they wore at the time, you know, the caps, you know, the jewelry, what was hot at that moment, you know, was like him shown in some way or form in this film, you know, which I've always, you know, I'm a truly big fan of the 90s, you know what I mean? And this is just a great exposure of it. So guys, man, that's my review for Friday.
So there you have it, folks. That was my review of Friday, which I believe it was done it was done on a Friday, but this Friday was in 2017. I'm gonna double check when I uploaded this as well. Pretty much what I said in the first time original, because as you could see, I had the original VHS. That's why I so badly wanted to put that. And even just going back and looking back at this review, I was filming this on my old laptop. Honestly, so you can see how it developed. You can see how I've developed now to holding the RichManZ microphone. I got the Richie Rich camera, and I got that Richie Rich smile, you know. So with the first Friday, I as much as I love the first Friday, I still put the original House Party, even though we're not comparing series. Like the House Party movie to me means more of when I think of the 90s, when I think of like entertainment, the music, the fashion, the culture, House Party is a standout more than Friday. I still think this is maybe not perfect, like it's a very high. If House Party 1 is 5 stars, I give this like 4.99 stars. I think like the original House Party is a perfect movie for me. Friday maybe just a little short, and just in some parts I did mention in the review, there is a lot of characters in the first Friday who I wish had more appearances. I maybe didn't mention this, like Charles Duncan is in this. Bernie Mac is here just for a short appearance. I would have loved to see more of Bernie Mac in this film as well. And I feel like House Party utilized like the little cameos better than they did. Like John Witherspoon in House Party, I feel his cameo was much superior than like Bernie Mac in Friday, the original one. But other than that, Friday 995, I mean, everyone's giving their take on it. It's a hood classic, one of the funniest comedies I've seen, black or white, like with any race. So much, again, one-liners. If you check my channel, I've cut some of them to shorts as well. And yeah, so it's a Islamic film, highly recommended. If you like if you like that ganj. I don't know if YouTube's gonna get me in trouble for this, but what, fuck them. But yeah, it's just comedy, chilling out with your friends. If you get fired from stealing boxes, you gotta know that a lot of shit can go down between Thursday and Friday. All right, so folks, yeah, that's my review. Again. I stress on my original one. That's my review of Friday that came out in 1995, directed by F. Gary Gray. Please let me know your comments and your feedback, what you think of the original Friday. Almost now 30 years. Now next year will be a 30th anniversary of the original Friday, so it'll be really nice to hear your thoughts and your opinions about this as well. So definitely check me out and look forward for the next one. I will be putting the next Friday review soon, and then Friday after next I had to put that in. I will be looking at the final Friday in the series. We'll be putting that out very, very soon. But till then, folks, it's 2024, and of course, if you haven't already done, get your paper right and update you know the rest.